Boxing King Media in association with boxer Paul Smith. Paul, we've just seen the press conference for Smith EUBANK Jr 2. It's interesting because I remember speaking to you at the first press conference and you was realistic about the fight. You know, you said it was a 50-50 fight. Completely different mood today?
Yeah, I don't think it's a 50-50 fight now. I thought last time, obviously, because of how tough and durable EUBANK was and maybe the size would have played a factor. But I think I said back then, and I think anyone will, you know, it's all there for everyone to see. I think Liam is the better fighter. I think Liam should be the favourite, but the size of EUBANK, the chin maybe of EUBANK, and the durability of EUBANK might even it out. But I think the better fighter was always Liam, and I've said on interviews in the past as well, I was surprised that it was so close with the bookies, or EUBANK was the favourite. For me, you know, Liam's the better fighter. Liam's the former world champion. Been there with better fighter in Canelo, obviously, and has beaten better fighters than EUBANK, but the proof was in the pudding last time. But yeah, it's a bit different this time. There's a lot more confidence from Liam now. Liam's not getting in thinking I can hurt you or I possibly might hurt you. He's getting in knowing I can hurt you, so that's a big difference.
It wasn't really touched on in the press conference, but what do you think the big delay was? I know they said it was made within 5 months, but Feb 14th was over 2 months ago, and we didn't really know what was going on, and then boom, within the last 3-4 days, it seems like it got over the line.
Well, obviously that's up to everyone that's been negotiating. You know, I've heard little snippets. I know, obviously, because Liam's my brother, a little bit, but
that's what we want to know.
Well, I don't really pay much attention to it, to be honest with you. I've got a busy life myself, but it's on now, so everything will have been agreed or reluctantly agreed or happily agreed, I don't know, but it's on. The fight's happening, and them things do take time, don't they? You know, and maybe EUBANK needs a little bit of time to lick his wounds a little bit more and heal up for this fight as such. Come June 17th, we'll find out again who really is the better man.
In the press conference, Chris didn't say it bluntly, but he was clearly referring to the alleged elbow. What do you make of that? Because it appears that he's suggesting that the elbow that he feels he took was the difference in the fight.
It's a load of shite, absolute load of shite. And if he wants to clutch at straws like that, let him do it. But I think he just says things just to get a reaction. I think it's been proven time and time again. If you keep watching his interviews or his pre-fight things, the last press conference he said he'd never been rocked or buckled or stunned or buzzed. There he's just said, of course I have. You know, we knew he had. Liam dropped him in our gym. I was there. Liam put him down with a body shot in sparring. We all said this before the fight, and he denied every bit of it. And then he said, of course I've been hurt in sparring, but never been down. And he has been down. But it's all irrelevant. What happened in the last fight happened, and what will happen in this fight will happen. You know, it's up to them to settle it in there. And I think obviously Liam has proven that he's the better fighter. He's proven that he can hurt him and knock him out. And I think it's a long way back for Chris EUBANK after that last fight.
What is next for your brother if he's successful again? The two scenarios, if he's successful and if he loses as well, do you think there'll be a trilogy? And if he wins, where do you think he should go? Stay at this weight or go back down?
I don't know. It's up to Liam, but you know what happens after. If I'm advising, I'm telling him not to even think after this fight. So he's got to just concentrate on this fight. This is the biggest fight of his life now. The last fight was the biggest fight of his life. The one before that was the biggest fight of his life. Every fight you have at this stage in your career, at the age that Liam's at, is the biggest fight of your life. So you can't look past it. And I'd certainly wouldn't recommend him looking past this one or Chris EUBANK. EUBANK was looking past Liam last time. He was calling Golovkin out in the build-up. How'd that work out for you? You know what I mean? You don't get too carried away looking at other fights. You concentrate on the one in front of you.
It's no secret that Conor Benn was in talks to fight Chris EUBANK Jr. Everyone's talked about it, Eddie Hearn and Kalle Sauerland as well. How much of a distraction to him that could be to Chris? Because on paper, that was potentially low risk and high reward for him, and now everything's high for him.
Honestly, I don't want to sound nasty saying this. I really couldn't care less. It's none of my business, and it's not to do with me or Liam. That's EUBANK. That's up to them and up to whoever was doing that negotiations. The facts are this fight's happening now. The fight's signed for. The fight's done. On June 17th, we'll find out for definite what we've said all along, that Liam is the better fighter, and I think that's already been proven. And I don't think whatever happens will undo that. But you know, we'll see again. I think Liam fully confident in him doing very, very similar again, if not earlier. The stuff that Liam's saying in the press conference, you know, about EUBANK twitching and reacting to every single feint. He was scared in there. He was fearful. He was When Liam asked him whether he got knocked out or flattened in sparring, that's something that we've all wanted to know. I wonder if he has, because he was wary, he was nervous, he was, in my mind, I was in the dressing room watching his hands get wrapped. I walked right back in our changing room and said his ass is gone. He's absolutely shitting himself. It took probably an hour and a half, I think, if I remember right, an hour and 35 minutes to do two hands. Normally it takes probably 45 minutes, an hour maximum. He was changing, chopping, cutting things out. The hand wrapper was doing a good job on the hands, my magic, and it was spot on. But he just wasn't happy with it, and there was something up. And for me, it just reminded me of things I've seen in the past where fighters are beaten in the dressing room. I think he's heard Liam walking to the ring, he's heard the noise of the crowd, he knew they were all with him. EUBANK was walking to the ring and the crowd was still singing Liam's song. I think mentally and both mentally and physically he was beaten that night, and he was beaten before he got in the ring because he couldn't get in Liam's head, he couldn't intimidate him. And he's certainly not going to do it this time. It's a different type of fight now, it's a different type of build-up. Liam doesn't need to persuade anyone or convince anyone anymore that he's the better fighter, because he's already proven it.
Is the result the same? Does he knock him out again, or do you think there's any chance of this going to points?
There's every chance it's going to points. I think he can and will knock him out. I think he'll grind him down this time, and it could be over quicker though. You just never know. I didn't expect it to be over that fast. I thought he'd stop him probably late, or the safe bet, in my opinion, was always Liam on points, because I said this. There's no way on earth Chris Eubank can do what he does at any sort of pace for 12 rounds. He has to box, he has to move, and he can't box. He's not the best of boxers. He's a good fighter, but he's not a good boxer. And that's been proven time and time again. On the back foot, he's not that good. But when it comes to tactics this time, I think if I'm advising Chris Eubank, I'm going to tell him to go out and just go for it from the first bell, put everything he's got into the first 5 or 6 rounds, because that's all he'll probably have in him. Again, I'm not being disrespectful to him, but the age he's at, the career he's had, and as I've said time and time again, you find me a fight where he's worked 12 rounds bell to bell, and you won't find one for a long time. He hasn't worked at a pace. Even when he lost to Billy Joe, he didn't do much for the first 6, and he put it on the gas for the last 6 and tried to come back into it, but he hadn't done enough. When he fought Groves, pretty similar. Most of the fights that he's had, the big fights, he's tried to coast and tried to rest here and there, and it's all bullshit your way through a few rounds and take your foot off the gas to rest. But you can't do that with someone like Liam, and we said that before. He's never going to be able to do that with someone as good, or someone with a pedigree like Liam, who knows the game inside out. His ring craft and his ring IQ is up there with anyone. And I feel like all the things I'm saying, I sound like a bit of a smartass, but all the things I'm saying were proven right in the first fight. We said what had happened all along, and we've been wrong before, obviously, but we got it right in the last one. I think Liam will get it right this time again.
Good stuff. And I just want to quickly get your opinion, Paul, on the Conor Benn situation. The latest we've seen is you kind of suspended him provisionally, right?
Sorry to interrupt you, I really can't be asked talking about that either. I've given my opinion on a long time ago, and that's me done on it. Whatever happens, happens. It's literally none of my business and nothing to do with me. What happens, happens. I've given my opinion on it, and leave it to the suits now to sort out, and the legal teams to sort out, or Conor Benn himself. It's up to them. Conor Benn, I've said time and time again what I think of Conor Benn, and I like the kid. He's a nice kid. What's happened has happened, and I'm going to leave it to all them to deal with. It's nothing to do with me.
Fair play. And the last thing I want to speak to you about is you've seen big nights in Saudi, you've seen what them guys are capable of. You've seen it firsthand a couple of times now. Do you think they'll be able to pull off this big mega card? They're talking about AJ Wilder, Fury Usyk, and if they do, regards to AJ, in your opinion, should he take that interim fight? Because there's a lot of, there's varied opinions on it.
If anything can happen, it'll probably happen in Saudi. I've seen great things over there already. I'm part of a small bit of it in managing Zizou Ziad Al-Mayouf, who's a Saudi fighter, lovely kid, good fighter. I've been working closely with Skills Challenge, looking after him and being involved with things. So if anyone can do it, it's them. Do I think it will happen? No. I think there's far too many people involved in that, too much politics. What networks are going to be on? If it happens, who's going to film it? Who's going to show it? Is it going to be DAZN? Is it going to be Showtime? Is it going to be BT? All the fighters have got separate contracts with television networks alone. Never mind the promoters. Who's going to have the final say on things? Who's going to be the A side? Who's going to be the last fight of the night? Who's going to be the fair? It's just too many what ifs and too many questions for something that big to happen. But if anyone's going to make it happen, it would likely be the Saudis, and I'd love to see it happen, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it, because I think it's just that big of a mountain of issues and negotiations to get through, and by the time they probably get around to doing all that, the fighters will probably come to the end of their careers, because that's a messy one, having them 4 fights on that bill.
Well, let's hope it does happen, Paul. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you, man.
All the best.